Canon recalled the EOS R1 and the R5 Mark II's firmware 1.1.0. This recall occurred just hours after it being announced. Canon claims the recall has to do with support for CF Express Type B cards that are larger than 2 terabytes. But reliable sources have told us that the reason for the recall actually runs deeper than supporting large capacity CF Express cards. How deep? Well, we'll go into that shortly, along with information about the upcoming firmware 1.1.1 that's due out very soon. But first, please punch that subscribe button. Thanks so much, it means an awful lot to us. Good morning, I'm Simon, your friendly photographic correspondent that likes to wade through the rumor mill and news sites worldwide so that you don't have to. My source, a reliable source, confirms that the next firmware update coming to the R5 Mark II and the R1 is indeed firmware 1.1.1, and he also had a message for us on 1.1.0. Avoid installing Canon firmware update 1.1.0. It's not recommended for professional or agency use. Version 1.1.1 fixes all the issues that we have with 1.1.0 and will be due out very soon. Continued use of 1.1.0 may lead to unexpected outcomes in the field with specific settings. And this source, well, this isn't some news source. It's from a credible source, and I really do wish I could share more with you, but I can't do so without risking my source's identity. And in case it's not clear, my source in that quote is referencing the Canon EOS R1 as well as the R5 Mark II. Not the previous cameras that were also got a firmware announcement on that day, and I'm not going to list them off because it's some like 14 cameras. I do get a feeling though that 1.1.1 is being rushed out. Well, 1.1.0 was rushed out the door. And the real reason to get this out there very quickly is to help change that narrative away from that embarrassing call. And there's nothing like a new release to make all the bad headlines go away. So why the rush then? Why isn't Canon with 1.1.0 taking the time to fix and test those fixes so as not to interrupt the many Canon Pro shooters with the R1 and the R5 Mark II? I wish I knew. I wasn't privy to that information. But it's got to do with the prioritization between supporting and maintaining existing products like the R5 Mark II and the R1 and engineering and releasing new products. You see, the people solving the problems for existing cameras and lenses are quite often the same people, or at least are involved in designing, engineering, marketing, and releasing new products. I appreciate new and enhanced capabilities. I really do. And my heartfelt thanks to Canon for keeping our gear current by fixing issues, enhancing capabilities, and adding new ones. It keeps our old cameras feeling new for years and helps build brand loyalty. And many are looking forward to capabilities such as OpenGate, 4K fine up to 60 frames per second, and many others. But what matters to most of us is a stable operating environment. Perhaps due to the complexity of the firmware with so many options and so many settings for each option, it might, and bear with me here because I think I'm onto something here, it might be time to open up a beta testing program. Let those that want to be on the bleeding edge test, and for those that need their gear to perform flawlessly day in and day out, to stick to the latest stable version. People shouldn't have to question every update, spend hours checking forums, news feeds, my website, or my YouTube channel, and product support pages. If there's an update that fixes an issue or adds a capability, that's not going to cause any issues because it's been thoroughly tested by not only Canon, but as well as the early adopter community that tested the program. Well, that is essential. That is what most of us want as an option. Now, some will want to get mad at the world and Canon and every name under the sun, or insulting us with every name under the sun, coming at me, coming at Canon, coming at Sony, or whomever. But like it or not, this is the update, or this is the process for updating software and firmware going back to when, well, the internet became popular. What do you think? A stable and development version would give us the best of both worlds and greatly reduce the risk of an embarrassing recall for Canon. But most importantly, at least from your viewpoint, is the lost productivity. I don't know why this isn't an option here. Well, I do, but if we look at Linux, if we look at various other applications out there, I'll use Plex as an example. Quite often, you have the choice of downloading the latest stable version, and even sometimes they'll list them off. So if you're ultra conservative and you don't want to go with their latest stable version, you can go with the previous latest stable version. And then for those of you, and it might be me included, that want the latest, the best of the best, and understand there may be issues, but for us, part of the excitement is actually, well, trying to find the issues, trying to break it by just using it day in and day out the way it's intended to. To have that development release that can be updated and changed until it's ready to be blessed as a stable release. Now, I get it. I know what some are thinking right now. If Canon was to support every firmware all the way back to, well, the first one, that would be a lot of work. And I agree. I've worked in this environment. I've actually updated software that's gone out to the market. I get it. The simple thing here is Canon doesn't have to support all these versions. They only have to support the latest, let's say, 2 years, or the last 2 or 3 or 4 major stable versions. They don't provide any support for the development issue. They get a call, person's running a development version. Well, Canon says, I'm sorry, we don't support the development versions. We recommend moving to one of the latest stable versions. Now, this might be a terrific idea. It might be a great idea and one that doesn't cost Canon an awful lot to implement, especially when they reduce the risk of an embarrassing recall significantly by doing this. Or maybe it's like when Jeremy Clarkson has one of those epiphanies or incredible ideas to save the world or to dramatically change a process or workflow in the automotive industry. Maybe it's incredible, or maybe like a lot of his ideas, it's just a silly thing. And on that bombshell, I want to say thank you very much for watching this video to the very end. This channel is viewer supported. We don't do sponsorships. If you are interested in supporting this channel, one of the best ways of doing it is when you are ready to purchase camera gear, lenses, accessories, camera bodies, then if you'd like to purchase from Adorama, B&H, Walmart, and Amazon.com, please consider using my purchase links down below. I get anywhere from 2 to 5% back, and literally what you're doing is helping support this channel and keeping it on the air. One other thing I might suggest too, and this is something I talk to my insiders all the time, if you've got an idea for a video, and I'm not just talking about reviewing something, but if you've got a really good question and you'd like me to dig into it, drop it in the comments section or send me an email, because I'd really like to know what you're thinking. And it's a great way to get ideas for upcoming videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you again soon.